your day-to-day business. As partners, as speakers, so you can connect with them in a one-on-one. So thank you again for TripAdvisor. 2 weeks later, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, we're doing maximum occupancy in New Zealand through our New Zealand office. So I look tired today. I don't know about in a couple of weeks' time, but they're also supporting the one in New Zealand as well. Let's talk about events and how we can fill your hotel and using the latest technology. I'd like to invite on stage a person who's come all the way down from Singapore, Stephen Hopkins, the Senior Vice President, EMEA and APAC sales for Group 360, and Katherine, how do you pronounce your surname?
Hopkinson.
No, not, I know your surname. What is it? It's
Pfhal.
Pfhal, okay. Pfhal, okay. Director of Venue Partnerships for all the lighting that you see in here and the great sound is Encore. We're going to talk a little bit about events, so fantastic. So I'm going to sit at the end because the guys at the video always said, I haven't been able to get the heads underneath this, so I'm going to go right at the end. So, okay.
They'll be able to work.
Sorry, Steve. Yeah, sorry.
Thought you'd be able to work that one out.
The video guy. See, I got it this time. I don't know. I don't know if it bothers anyway. Thank you very much. We talk a little bit about events and technology and how it can sort of impact. Just sort of last year we did maximum occupancy. Events were sort of coming back now. So, Stephen, can you firstly tell me who the hell is Groups 360?
US-based technology company owned by the 4 largest global hotel brands. So we're owned by Marriott, Hilton, IHG, and Encore, and an investment company called Blackstone.
And what do you do?
We build the technology that allows...
I know what it is, but tell
I know,
in layman's terms, yeah.
We build the technology that allows the global hotel, well, any brand for that matter, but talking about the global hotel brands, allowing them to be able to basically get all their inventory, put it all online, and take the whole business from being a very offline industry to completely online. So we control the ability to direct book, whether it's a meeting space, the rooms, the catering, the ancillaries, all in one sort of booking, all online, or do the global distribution of all their RFPs.
That's fantastic. And what's your ideal customer? What's the size? I mean, we've got a lot of smaller.
Look, we work with everybody. I mean, obviously, they're very, very big brands, but within those brands, there's still small hotels.
Yep. Okay.
So it doesn't matter about the size of the property. I mean, clearly, we want the property to be able to do some form of group business. So, roughly 40% of the world market for the hotel industry is reliant upon group business.
Yep.
And a proper group hotel will pretty much get about 60% of its revenue from the group segment. Sure. I mean, group segment is meetings, events, conferences, sports groups, pretty much anything that's, by definition, 10 rooms and more.
Yeah, okay. Katherine, tell me what Encore does besides this beautiful lighting that's making it look so fantastic. And who are they, how they evolve as well, because,
Yeah, absolutely. So Encore are the world's largest end-to-end event solutions company. So in that, what that means really is that we've got 2 streams of our business, and we work with the likes of venue partners like Hyatt Regency here and end customers to understand needs of our clients and our customers and develop and tailor events within either a hotel, large-scale events like this, big box hotels all across the world, right down to small boardroom events, so 2-3 person meetings that require nothing but...
Outdoor events too?
Outdoor events too.
Because you're talking about boxes, outdoor events too? Okay.
Outdoor events too.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's basically what we do. We're located in 30 countries around the world and have a really robust team of experts and obviously stringent processes.
And that's what I think properties need is great technology that automates that whole manual process, and then great providers as well, because the events like today, if Encore weren't who they were today, this event, I mean, the guys have been great, so it's very important. Tell me a little bit about the business events landscape. Where are we in terms of the recovery of it since COVID? I mean, after the borders open, it just boomed. Where is it now? Is it flat again? What is it doing? And that's for big cities?
Yeah.
We've got a lot of regional properties here as well. Where is it at?
Look, I think there's a new normal, right? So if we look back 12 months ago, 2022, we look back at that year, and that was probably the most successful year that Encore have had in the way of technology and events on record. Some of our months were the best months we've had on record, pre-pandemic regardless. But what we have certainly seen now is a new normal, and what I mean when I say that is that the volume of events is slowly coming back. We have seen it from a local and a domestic market, certainly on par pre-pandemic. The booking lead times have obviously come right down, and we're all experiencing that and trying to manage that on every
So the booking
level.
lead times are small or large?
No, they're much tighter.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, they're absolutely much tighter. And there's also, what we're seeing is an ask for, it's a low risk mentality. So event organisers are wanting to ensure that there'll always be a level of hybrid within events because they want to minimise the risk of any event that
Do you
they're
do
doing.
hybrid?
We do
Sorry,
hybrid,
giving
yes.
a plug. I mean, yeah. No, I mean, so, because I know some companies are like, well, COVID's still around. We don't want to do the big conferences. Is that still happening, Stephen? Or,
Yeah, we're definitely, it's the 50 rooms or the 50 person type meetings and under. That's actually what's complete for what we've seen globally has exploded. Not the, we were talking about this before, not the 5,000 plus type meetings. That market is still slowly coming back. So, but certainly 50 and under, that's
Why is that?
off the charts.
COVID,
Yeah, I think it's a combination of
travel,
things, all the above. I think
expensive.
it's the COVID effect, the fact that airfares are expensive. Sometimes, they just don't have enough flights coming to certain markets.
Yeah.
And I still think people are very much still in a domestic travelling mode in respect to, just getting back into the groove. So small meetings event seems to make sense.
You both work globally. I mean, not globally, APAC and everything. How is Australia positioned, and what is a sentiment from the event decision makers? I mean, is Australia on the roadmap? I mean, on the radar for people, for companies overseas, or is that distance still that?
No. I think Australia is certainly a focus. So when we're working with and talking to the likes of PCMA representatives globally, it is absolutely still a top desired destination for meetings and events. There is, of course, all the things that we've spoken about over the past couple of days, lack of flights, a sense of risk averse when it's post-COVID. But, from when you look at it as a destination and everything that can take place in and around the meeting itself, we have such a plethora of offerings. That keeps us top of mind and a destination of choice.
Stephen,
Exactly.
I mean, you're based in Singapore. You see what's happening up there.
Certainly markets like Singapore are doing very well.
Yep.
I've seen large events come through. I've seen a number of properties doing, getting back to those sort of 2019 numbers of 95% occupancy.
Wow.
With very solid ADR.
Yep.
And again, we're seeing this in the US. The ADR, Marriott published this the other week. They've seen their ADR in the 5-star properties increase 18% year on year. So, the numbers are certainly heading in the right direction in terms of what people are willing to pay. Okay.
So what's the ongoing impact of the virtual and hybrid market? Like we were talking a little bit about the employment landscape before. People want to work from home. Is it hybrid still there? Is it, popular? Is it, I know, Steve, you don't want to hear about that.
No, we never played it. We never touched it. So I don't really have I have no data around it because I just don't know.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and don't be afraid of the hybrid component, because understanding that we deliver meetings and events in room, and it's as much a part of our business as yours. But the hybrid element is certainly here to stay, and it's here to stay because personalisation around events is something that's becoming more and more. It's top of mind, and it's important. Yeah. And, we want to be able to service the attendees in the way that they want to be serviced, and some may really want to get in the room and feed off that human connection because it is so vitally important. But some attendees, you can't buy that time back either. So when it comes to personalising the experience for an event, when you're thinking about that end user, for someone to be able to jump online.
So what's sort of the ratio between, hybrid's still up there, in person? Because
20% of our business.
People still want to touch and feel and stuff like that. That sounds terrible.
People want to get back together. This is the whole reason why it works.
Touch and feel, but you know what I mean? Yeah. It's sort of, So is hybrid sort of going down as well? So yeah.
Of
okay.
course,
That's
yeah.
great. Okay, what type of events are coming back the most?
It's
Big
for us.
conferences,
Again, for us, it's the small.
retreats. I mean, what type format of business events are you seeing?
We're just seeing small meetings, events coming back with companies who want to get their teams together. They want to be able to bring people together, but they don't want to go overboard with it. They're sort of, I think they're doing it in, and we've seen, especially we see more so perhaps in the US, where they might then have 4 regional meetings as opposed to one big meeting.
Okay.
So therefore, a few people might go there to present the company, but they can get more of the regional teams together rather than trying to bring them into one great big venue.
And there's a lot of regional hoteliers here, and I'm going to ask a question in a moment about how they can grab that market share. But Katherine, what were you saying?
I think in agreement here, what we're seeing is opposed to one-on-one and people sitting in their homes with the use of hybrid, that low risk meeting is what we're seeing is certainly still prominent. But Q4 onwards, I mean, we are responding to a number of events that we're seeing briefs coming out of China and India with that 5,000 plus attendee.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's interest and it's building momentum without a doubt, for sure.
Actually, that's a good point. I mean, we're involved in the South by Southwest is coming to Sydney. You may have heard, you may know about it. So, they use Encore uses our technology to run that entire event from the housing point of view. So that's, again, it's a good example. That's 11 properties, 12,500 room nights. It's a good chunky piece of business that's coming to Sydney. So we're starting to see those sorts of events.
There's, as I said, maximum occupancy of the conference is not about the sea level. We've got a lot of the small 20, 40 room hotels, and as I said, we love them as well. You've been in conference, in events for how can they get that market? How can they sort of feed into that demand? You're saying there's a lot of regional. How can they get started? I mean, where I'm talking about how can
I think the key is to be agile, to be flexible, to listen to what your customers are asking for, and then work with somebody like your technology provider to recreate the spaces within your existing venues. So, your traditional ballroom space, sure, but maybe there's, your F&B outlets and actually working with technology to I guess, deliver on those needs and those asks. And by being far more nimble and versatile and using the capacity of being a smaller venue, work in the favour as opposed to the larger hotels.
Yeah, I mean, we've just done a deal in the US with Wyndham Hotels globally. So it involved 9,500 properties that we're taking online globally. But if you look at the Wyndham brand, they are very, they look a lot like regional properties in Australia, certainly some of the smaller ones. But where we've seen the opportunity is how can hotels, when people are visiting them, I'm going there for a meeting from, Monday through to Thursday, but then I want to kick on, are the hotels positioned to make sure they're also winning that pre-post business?
Yep.
Because we've certainly seen that. We've seen a doubling in the pre-post business. We went from pre-pandemic 8 to 14% of a group would extend. Now we're seeing 14 to 27% of groups extending, double the nights. So are you prepared to make sure if I'm coming to your property, how can you make sure that I stay with you? Because there's nothing worse than you having the relationship with the hotel.
Yep.
And then that guest says, well, I want to stay for 2 extra nights. But how can they? So therefore, what do? They either check out or they jump online, and then you end up paying 20% for the privilege of having your customer go to
I see that all the
OTA.
time,
It's just crazy.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's definitely...
Use the technology to allow you to capture more of that revenue.
And you got a point, Katherine, is about what can you use with your space and how can you assist and reach out to suppliers like this, no matter where you are, even if you're on a Fijian island, hey, Rob, or something like that.
We're in Fiji too.
Fiji, Rob owns... he owns an island, Tropica Island, amazing island in Fiji. I have to come out there soon. But, how can you activate the whole island? Why not? But, and I think using technology and providers is the key. Try not to do it all yourself. I mean, these people are experts in what they do as well. Let's talk a little bit about the whole RFP thing. Stephen, you're saying you've been following the news, several major brands, your Hiltons and IHGs, and made a significant investment in Groups 360 to launch instant group bookings and a better RFP management. Why have they done that? I mean, you're owned by the bigger boys. Why?
Because they
But
want.
there was a need, or?
There's definitely a need, and I think the reality is that it's well overdue. The group segment of the hotel industry is still to this date very antiquated. It's still very. We call it a rooming list, but the reality is a rooming list is a spreadsheet. So let's stop calling it a rooming list and call it what it is, which is a spreadsheet. And you get all your delegates, 5:30 on a Friday, that rooming list shows up in your hotel and you pump it into your PMS because they're all arriving on Monday. It doesn't make any sense. How do you get connected to those people beforehand? Yep. So direct booking, the ability to
book that little room.
Exactly, either to book the space or to get connected with your guests well in advance. Everything we've been talking about for the last couple of days, which has been great, is about the transient booker and how do we get them booking online. But you've potentially got a big chunk of your business that you don't have any mechanism to capture them. Will talked about this from Revenate yesterday about that first party data. Well, it's really, really important to get the first name, last name, email address well in advance of their stay. If I'm coming in 4 months' time, that's 4 months that you can market to me. But if you get that on a Friday night, 3 days before I show up, you can't market to me.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, no, very true. And using technology like Groups 360 as well is very, very important. It automates it, doesn't it, as well? For smaller operators,
for all size operators. Yeah. I don't think it matters if you've got a smaller property with 30 rooms, 50 rooms or whatever, or you've got 2,000 room hotel. I don't think it doesn't matter.
I think it's a great product, Group 360. Because before, we know building marketing and websites and stuff that we have to do the whole form on the website where there's downloadable PDFs of the room space and maps and walkthroughs and all that, and that goes into a CRM system. It feeds through to the DOSM or the conference organizer or something like that, and comes back. Your software does it instantly. But there's a bit of revenue management in there too.
There's all that sort of stuff. But equally, loyalty is a great example. If you know who these people are well in advance, and this is all about getting rid of rooming lists, if you know who these people are coming in advance, then nothing worse than having a platinum guy standing in front of you and you put him in the basement, yet the guy who comes once a year gets the suite because you don't know who these two people are. I want to make sure I over-service my customers that are loyal to me.
Katherine, do you want to add anything to that, or no?
I think personalisation and understanding the needs of who your audience members are is critical because we live in an on-demand world. We expect everything and everyone to know who we are and what we want, and we expect that as a consumer from the brands that we're touching every day.
Is Encore automated? Can we order stuff online? I'm just throwing it out. I know your GM's in here, but I'm just throwing it out there. Can we order tech out the guy? The guy at the back, Sam or Simon? Jason, he's been fantastic. So, no, it's Simon, sorry. I'm just saying, can you order stuff like that online? Or it's better for you to do consult because you have to see the venue and all that sort of stuff?
I'd say it's a combination of both. So if it's really small, and that agility piece, which we're talking to here, is if you're in a small room with two people, the needs are obviously going to be a lot less. But when we're talking on a large scale, 2,000 or a couple of hundred people, really to understand the needs of what that event organiser is looking for, working with someone like Encore, we help personalise and step you through. It's also a risk management piece as well. We're here to help troubleshoot as you need it. So the risk is removed from you and your hotels. Encore actually take that on board.
Yeah, Steve.
No, I think, and actually that's very important because obviously what we're doing, and Encore's obviously will be an important partner in this, is we've launched this with Marriott, where you have the ability to do rooms, space, catering, and the ancillary, which is, the TV that I need in the boardroom for for a couple of days for my small group of 15 people, as an example. Put all that online. Now I can actually order those additional components.
And it saves cost for the smaller operator. They have to go back, forth. They book it online, and I think it's great.
You do it offline. It's a 3 to 4 day back and forth of the hotel. If you do it online, it's done in 10 minutes.
Fantastic, yeah. And your software is not expensive, is it?
No, actually, it's not because we don't charge.
I don't know. But you have to look at the labour costs involved and the certainty also.
It's all transactional.
Exactly, and the certainty of someone being able to book it instead of going back online, back and forth as well. We talked a little bit about HR. What are the challenges with recruitment and retention in the business event sector? We're talking about hotels, hospitality. It's still hospitality, isn't it?
again, this is an area for Encore, and it's an area of expertise for us. So what we've spent a long time doing is building and nurturing relationships with talent pool providers. So for the likes of event experts, the team at the back of the room here, knowing who and when is coming down those the talent streams and nurturing that talent into the business, where we can then produce events and remove that stress from our hotel partners. And then for us, really, it's understanding and to attract the right talent.
Yep.
We're doing so much significant work in the ESG space at the moment, building really important BRGs and resource groups that are looking and listening to, the wellness needs of our employees. Pride, for example, women, and just building experiences for our own team members that are based on authenticity and the things that they're asking for. So sort of 2 key areas for focus for us.
Stephen, what are you seeing in the recruitment?
Ours is very different because we're a software development company. Our biggest challenge is obviously...
But you're still involved in the events industry. And what's happening up in Asia and Australia? I mean, you're sort of holistic.
Look, everything I hear at the hotel level have exactly the same challenges around human resources, and I think that whether that's in Asia, Australia, the US, Europe, it's exactly the same. Finding good talent is a challenge, and I think it's a global challenge because everybody... I was actually in Bangkok a couple of weeks ago at a general managers round table, and every single general manager said exactly the thing: I can't find people. Every single person without a show, that's their number one issue. And that's in a market like Thailand where people are you have a bigger pool of people and they're having challenges.
Wow, that's up there. If they're having challenges up there.
And they're having challenges,
why? Why do you think that is?
I think people left and they've decided not to come back to the industry because they've potentially got a better paying job or a job that doesn't require the same.
I think it's a holistic view on
the
whole industry, events, hospitality, everything, catering, restaurants, to be out there as much as possible to attract the right staff, retain them as well. As I said, what's the North Star, what you're doing, have a training development plan. At Fastrack, we have a training development plan for any one of my team members. I said my lead developer's been with me 9 years, and we've developed him from a junior developer where he is. Show them where they're to go, and I think that applies to every sort of business as well. What a path for them as well. So we've only got a couple of minutes. Do we have any questions from the audience or any words of wisdom from Katherine or Stephen? I mean, as I said, to the whole business event sector, what should everyone in the room be doing more of and less of, besides using Encore and Group C360? Sorry.
Absolutely. I think, again, I'm going to go back to Agile. An agile venue is a winning venue when it comes to events. So thinking outside the box, getting your teams together, brainstorming how you may deliver or appeal to new and different types of events. And then I think that is pretty key to winning different pieces of business, is to remain as agile and creative as you can.
Yep. And you can consult with any type of hotel to say,
Absolutely.
How can we get more into events? What do we need to do? And okay, fantastic. Steve?
Yeah, and I think the whole leisure market has exploded globally, which is obviously a combination of business and leisure. So therefore, how can you make sure that you're trying to maximise that opportunity? Because it's a real opportunity. So I think my thing if I'm a hotelier, how can I make sure that I'm better engaging with those people that come into my hotel so I can try and maximise the revenue opportunity from those people, whether it's staying or whether it's experiencing.
So a lot of these hotels have got so much property, land and everything, and they're not activating it, so... I mean, I'm sort of dumbfounded sometimes when we sort of try and increase the revenue of a hotel. They've got an amazing car park or a restaurant, something that's not being used. And as you said, agile, I mean, contact Encore or something like that, or even Steve, maybe not your area, but, he can automate it, you can activate it, I think. Automate it, activate it, that rhymes. And on that note, we will finish. So thank you very much to Stephen has come all the way down from Singapore, from Group 360, and Katherine, thank you very much.
Mate.
Thank you.